Baxter, editor of Retail Leader, and welcome to Trend Talk. Every week on Trend Talk, we identify a retail trend and give it a deep dive with an industry insider. With me today is Bridget Goldschmidt, managing editor of Progressive Grocer, and we're talking about the state of female leadership in food retailing. As we're talking today, Progressive Grocer actually just came out with its 2021 Top Women in Grocery, which recognizes women who are leaders in the industry. So I'm super excited to talk about this topic. And Bridget, thanks so much for being here. I'm wondering if you could start us off with introducing yourself and giving us a little bit of background on the Top Women in Grocery Awards program.
Sure. I'm Bridget Goldschmidt. I'm the managing editor of Progressive Grocer. And the Top Women in Grocery program began in 2007 as a way to recognize female leaders in the grocery industry. The very first iteration of this program, the editors actually put together the first list. It was of 62 women. And to get to this list, we took into account each honoree's title and her status on the org chart, her primary areas of responsibility, the economic sphere that she controlled, and major achievements at her company, financial or otherwise.
Awesome. So this year, could you tell us a little bit about the honorees? There any commonalities? I know that there was a record number of honorees this year, 437. And then maybe also could you go into the criteria and the judging process for choosing the honorees?
Sure, absolutely. There are a lot of commonalities among the honorees, despite the fact that they're from all walks of life. They're all people who strive to do their best every day, regardless of circumstances. They perform incredibly well under pressure. And they're all leaders in their respective fields, and they help their colleagues succeed as well. In choosing the honorees, we look for extraordinary achievements, leading innovative corporate initiatives, executing or delivering exemplary financial or strategic objectives, astute problem-solving abilities, and achieving exceptional performance benchmarks that have been attained during the past year. And it's really that quality of going above and beyond one's actual job to affect change across her company, industry, and community that we're looking for. And of late, we've been giving a lot more weight to that community piece because we see it as a key element in a top woman's overall achievement, how she seeks to uplift those around her, even those outside the grocery industry.
Awesome. So from its conception, you mentioned the number of winners or honorees at first, and now there's hundreds. That alone, I think, shows a lot of change in the industry, but how has this program changed then over the years?
The program has evolved into a nomination process from outside nominators across 3 categories: senior level executives, rising stars, and store managers. And another thing that has changed over the years is seeing women in roles beyond the more traditional communications or human resources fields to encompass such areas as IT, construction, logistics, and more, things that weren't traditionally so-called women's jobs. Mm-hmm. And this year, as with so much else, the pandemic played a large role in the nominations and in the judging, since so many achievements were related to actions undertaken in response to COVID-19.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, obviously the COVID-19 pandemic, there were so many challenges and opportunities for grocers over the last year. So I also know that there was a record number of entries, or 1,000 entries for for women in the sector. So what does that alone say about the state of women in leadership for the industry?
The continued interest in and the growth of the program, I believe, is evidence that women are finding more opportunities to succeed in the grocery industry. There's a lot of mentoring going on right now by both men and women in the industry, both internally at various companies and in industry-wide organizations to help women attain higher positions at influential companies. I think this needs to continue. I think it will continue. along with more recruitment at the college level to interest women graduates in grocery industry careers. And I also believe that the greater visibility of women in the industry through programs like Top Women has definitely been beneficial in helping sort of boost that profile.
Awesome. So how would you rate kind of where the industry stands today for women in leadership, and where do you think it needs to improve? How far away are we from getting to, parity or whatever goals there might be?
I mean, I think it's better than it's ever been, but I mean, of course it could be better.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's a lot of thoughtful work going into that. I mean, organizations like New have been doing a lot to help with gender parity, and there's been a lot of work there. And I think women themselves are more aware of the need for mentoring and support, and are really working on helping each other advance in the industry. So I think that there are definite strides toward gender parity in the industry.
Good, great. And I want to know why it's important to recognize women in leadership for this industry. What does this award, honoration, actually mean?
It's a good question. Well, I think, even today, the majority of grocery shoppers are still women. So I think it is crucial to have women as leaders in the grocery industry and to celebrate that representation of the consumers that they serve. And in the industry, the program really gives women starting out in the industry the encouragement to advance in that industry. Every year at our Top Women event, we have a leadership development program that helps attendees devise practical strategies for moving ahead in their careers. So that's something that we try to help with, not just through giving awards, but through actually, providing networking opportunities and advice from more experienced leaders in the industry to newer people.
Oh, fabulous. And so this year's list just came out, but I already want to know what you're looking forward to for next year. Is there a cap on the number of honorees? Do you think that the number will continue to grow?
That's something that we'll have to sort of think about as it gets, as we go north of 400 like we did this year,
Mm-hmm.
As to whether there'll be a cap or not. But what we are looking forward to is a whole new slate of inspirational stories of success. Because even after all of these years, I never get tired of reading them or, finding out new things about the industry and just the general resilience and inventiveness and creativeness of our nominees. It's always a real pleasure to be introduced to a new class of top women in grocery.
Yeah. Do any of the stories stick out to you? What's like the one that has stuck with you this year?
I think the ones that really are the most interesting or impactful are the people that really had to overcome a lot of difficulties beyond just the pandemic. The pandemic was sort of everybody's problem in the industry that everybody had to deal with. And there were some really brilliant responses to that. But I think there were people that had to deal with, especially on the West Coast, with wildfires and sort of rolling power outages and things of that nature, things that are really destructive to businesses, and manage to keep things going and survive and thrive despite these kind of disasters left and right. And that was really sort of the most interesting things that that we read this year, that we really took into account how people had to deal with so much more than just the pandemic in certain areas.
Yeah. Wow. Cool. Well, Bridget, thank you so much. A lot of these stories are available to read on Progressive Grocer. So everyone should go ahead and check out some of the honorees. And that's going to do it for us this week on Trend Talk. And we'll see you back here next week with another retail trend.